Hi, this is Colleen from Keeping the Peace Defensive Handgun Training for Women, and today's going to be a video response to Nick at SieraOscarLima1. He just did a tag video called What I Look For in a Good Carry Blade, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what I look for in a good carry blade because he asked me to, so I'm honored that he asked me. And this might be helpful for the ladies who are maybe not carrying a knife currently and are looking for a new knife, or their first knife even, and they don't really know what to look for. So I hope this is helpful for you guys. I don't claim to be an expert on blades at all. I do love them. I do like all sharp objects, even some that seem unconventional. Even these, my son made these for me and I just love them. These are blades, but you know, I just like sharp objects and he knows that. So here we go. Let's talk about what I look for. I look for 6 different criteria. The first one is it needs to be thin. As a female, we have small pockets. We have to put sharp objects and guns in small areas, and sometimes it's even more challenging when we're wearing skirts and things like that. So it needs to be thin. It also needs to be lightweight. A big, heavy, thick knife just doesn't work well for a female, and even a lot of males. So those are 2 things I look for, thin and light. I also, though I don't claim to be an expert on different types of steel, I do like a knife made out of a steel that will keep an edge for a long period of time. I don't like to spend a lot of time sharpening knives, but I do use them a lot. They go through a lot of abuse, and I like a knife that will keep a good edge. I also like assisted open, and the reason I like that is because my main carry blade on the strong side of my body, I like to have one-handed open, one-handed closure, and I can do that with assisted opening and a liner lock. So that's the next thing. I like liner locks. Some people hate them. I love them because it makes everything one-handed. I can do it without involving my other hand. So if I'm needing to hold something with this hand, I'm not having to put it down and close the knife. Like a knife like this, with a frame lock, I have to stop, push a button, and for me, it's even odd. I even turn them over just because it feels odd. So that's just a lot of unnecessary steps. So the knife that's on the strong side of my body is typically a Kershaw Leek. These are my favorite. They're thin, they're lightweight, they keep a good edge. They have assisted opening and a liner lock, so everything's one-handed. And I just like them. I like the way they look. They last a long time. I've beat this one to death. It still works really well. So this is my strong side knife. I also like a low-sitting clip, and that's one place where these kind of fall short. They do not have a low-sitting clip. When I clip it in my pocket, quite a bit of the knife sticks up. And I would prefer a lower lying clip. Let's see which one even has one. Most of mine don't. The Scallion has a little bit lower, I think. Yeah, it's a little bit lower, but the Scallion's also thicker. So it takes up, it feels bulkier in my pocket, and the blade is shorter. So I lose blade length, quite a bit of it. So this is typically one that I would use as a boot knife, because in my boot I can take something thicker. So really most of my knives do have a little bit higher of a sitting clip, and I would prefer that they sit lower. The knife I carry on my support side sits a tad bit lower. It's also a tad bit thinner and a tad bit lighter. This is a Benchmade. Let's see, I think the model number is 530. Yeah, 530 BK for black. And the steel is 154 cm. I think that's what that is. I'm not a steel expert, so I'm not going to rattle off a bunch of steel names, but this does keep a really good edge. This is the knife that I typically try to keep clean because I'll use this to cut food. I'm one of those weird people that'll pull out my pocket knife to cut food. I was at a wedding just a couple of weeks ago and they served meat without knives. They had plastic knives, but that doesn't work to cut meat. So I pulled out my pocket knife and started cutting my meat at the table with all the wedding guests, and they all wanted to use my knife. I ended up passing it all the way around the table, and everyone used it to cut their meat. So it comes in handy. I cut apples, I cut various things with this, and this is the one I'll try to keep clean. I don't know if you can even get close in on this blade, but it is absolutely filthy because I use it for a little bit of everything. It's gross, but it's still sharp as a razor. It works really well. The third knife that I carry on my person is a little neck knife that my husband gave to me. This was made by a friend of his as a gift, and he has let me start carrying it because he saw me trying to rig up a way to carry my Tops Devil's elbow as a neck knife, and this is a little large for a female to conceal as a neck knife, so I think he felt a little sorry for me and he let me start carrying this one, but I love it. I haven't had it off since he gave it to me. This, of course, wouldn't be a fighting blade or even really a main utility blade for me, but as a last ditch, if something has happened and I'm unable to get any of my other blades, this one could get me out of any number of pickles. So I love this little blade, and it sits nicely where I need it to sit. Doesn't interfere with anything. So let me go back over my 6 criteria that I look for. Just as a little bit of a review, I look for thin, lightweight, keeps a good edge for a long period of time. I look for, in my strong side blade, assisted open and liner lock, because for me that's an easy way to be able to close it one-handed. This type of lock, there's a name for this, the Benchmade lock. I don't know it off the top of my head. I'm able to open this knife one-handed, but it's difficult for me to close it one-handed. I kind of need to assist with the other hand or with a leg or something. And then the last one is a low-sitting clip, which my daily carries don't meet that criteria. So I've yet to find exactly what would meet all those criteria. But that's just throwing out there what I like in a good carry blade. If it were a blade I was going to fight with, I wouldn't probably pick any of these. I would pick one of my Tops knives because they're full tang. They're extremely thick steel. They're just made for fighting. They have really good sturdy jimping that won't let your hand slip. They fit your hand really well. This one particularly, I mean, it can be held that way or this way. This would be a really good punching blade if you had to fight with it. So that would obviously be what I would choose if I had to fight with a blade, but I hope I never have to fight with a blade. I hope that this video has been helpful. I hope this is what you were looking for, Nick. I appreciate you asking me to chime in on the subject, and I hope all of you have a wonderful day and that you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless.